Hey everybody, it's the first day of Michigan gun season, and so I got my hunting hat on and I got my 450 Bushmaster over in the corner just in case I see something. I didn't get anything this morning, so I'll go back out later, see how it goes. But we're working on the Suburban again. On the last video I was concerned about this upper differential crossmember bracket and upper control arm front bracket. It just seemed like it was kind of goofy, and I still feel like it is, but I put it together anyway, and we're gonna just see how it goes. So this is tightened up there into the stock brackets for the differential mount, and then I also put on the rear upper and lower control arm brackets. And there's a cross member that will go from this bolt and this bolt across to the other two for the back bolts of the differential. So the differential's here, waiting to go in. This is loose. The bottom bolts are just snug, and the cross member has to go in after the differential. So I'm going to lift it up in place, get those bolts in, and then get that cross member in and snug everything up on the back. Okay, quick update. You can see on that diff, on those ribs, I've been grinding and grinding, and right there, you see I'm not quite to that hole. Good paint job on that lift kit, huh? Yeah. Anyway, so I've been grinding and grinding. I called Superlift tech support, and they said, of course, no, you shouldn't have to clearance the differential. If anything, you need to trim that bracket. And I'm like, man, I am not going to cut that clamshell and lose all the integrity. I cut off all the mounts that the instructions said to, and I've still got quite a bit of interference. I've ground quite a bit of way, and I had marked it once with a picture to send to them. So I'll put that picture up real quick. And so I'm just going to keep marking that and grinding and marking and grinding.
I'm not so sure how much you can see with the light, but you can tell it's all right here, and right here it's also been hitting. And so what I'm going to do is clearance this whole area, and just so I know that I'm going deep enough, I'll make like a mark with the grinder wheel, about 1/4 inch deep, and then I'll feather all of this until those marks, those grooves are gone. So that's a good way to grind to a certain depth. Now if this was precision, I'd have a mark on a drill or a stop somehow, so I can only go so deep, but I'm just hacking, so I'll just make some good grooves in the grinder, and then just keep on tearing up some metal.
That's what I'm talking about. Just throwing a deep groove in there, 1/8 inch, 3/16 of an inch, something like that. And now I'll just grind that whole area until those are gone.
Now that all my grinder marks are cleaned up and gone, I'll put that back up in there and see how much more I gotta hack. Well, I'm getting closer, but I'm pretty much fixing to just get rid of all the ribs over there. I keep marking it now with a Sharpie, trying to kind of give myself a guideline. I'm just gonna keep on grinding, because that's what needs to happen. Well, I really hope this video shows how much grinding actually does have to happen. You can see I've taken close to 3/4 of an inch out of these ribs. I'm thinking deer still. Thinking deer. I'm almost there. I'm pretty sure the technical term for what has to be done to that differential is called hogging. You've got to hog out a lot of metal. And that's still not enough. You can see I'm pretty much going to have to, in that area, almost grind right down to the flush part of the casing. I don't know. I guess there's probably a lot of people that do this. But, man, seems like all the R&D work had to be a better way. Okay, I've gotten even more grinding done. I wish I would have taken some measurements to see where I was at to begin with. But I'm getting close to that casing. So, we'll see if it fits now. That dang thing is still hitting. I was able to get the bolt in, but, see, there's the bolt. But when I hold the cross member up, I can't quite make it. Oh, there's the hole. Okay. But you can see how much more that diff has to come over. It's incredible. So I'm going to have to take the ribs down until the case is flush, pretty much. There's the contact still. So all of that needs to come. Man, yep, pretty much all of it has to come off. Unbelievable.
All right, after grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding, I had an aha moment. See that mount, that bushing right there? If you draw a line straight up, all of that has to come out. Physically, That's not possible. I'd be into the case. So I had to cut that. And I could plate it, but with all this bracket geometry and strength and gusseting and everything else, and the fact that it's kind of double shear in more than one direction, being that it bolts there and up there, and then also this cross member here will bolt to the top and bottom bolts there. There's really no loss of strength in that bracket. So I cut it off. Now it's going to fit. All right, well, it's getting in. So there's just a lot of little alignment factors that have had me questioning things. One of them I mentioned, I think in the last video, was that putting this in, things just didn't look like they were lining up very well. So both of these front bolts are in. This is tight, that's tight, that's tight, and so are the upper mounts for the cross member where the differential used to bolt. But now I have a hole that needs to come, I don't know, that either has to go up or the diff has to come back. And on this side, it's opposite, where the diff basically has to come straight up to match into that hole. And there's just a lot of goofiness. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is loosening the nuts and bolts, the 7/16 hardware on that front cross member, and seeing if there's enough give in things to let this diff get bolted in and everything squared away on the back. I think ultimately, once everything's in place, all the alignment, ability and adjustment is going to really have a factor on how it rides and how it drives. So as long as I get my caster, camber, and toe where it needs to be, the rest is okay. So there's just some manufacturing things. Like I feel like this cross member here is a little bit twisted. We'll see.